God. Ask God.
One thing I want to say about this next question, it was a little glitchy on the audio. You can still make it out. There's nothing wrong with my end of the recording, but just want to let you know that it's a little skippy here and there, but you'll be able to make it out. And then from there, I can answer that question. I think it's a good question. That's why I wanted to definitely post it here and then share it with you and then give you my feedback and my thoughts on this question. So let's go ahead and listen to that question now.
Hey, Scott, this is Rick calling from Erie, Pennsylvania. Big shout out to you guys, you and Chris and Dom, just for everything you guys do and making this thing happen. Really appreciate it. So I've been listening for a while, probably last 8 months, and just recently pulled the trigger, sourced my product, took all those steps and ordered my product. And I ended up ordering, did the sea freight, which I got really fortunate there because there's an awesome freight forwarder here in town, and he's really, really taken care of me and made that whole process as simple as possible, which is awesome. So I have my product, kind of put the cart before the horse, though, because the category I want to sell in, where all my competition is, majority of sales, that's in the, home and personal care. And big problem here, that's gated. Now, I went through and I've listened to your other show about how getting ungated and that whole process and how that works, and kind of screwed up a little because I should have had my invoice split into 3. Didn't get that done, but nonetheless, I decided just to go ahead and try anyway, and so I have my one invoice and some other documentations. I got my FDA cert and all that good stuff. So I figured maybe I can get in. So tried it, got rejected, tried it, got rejected. I've probably been rejected like 4 times. It's like crazy. But each time I get rejected, it's, some other vague statement as to why. So one of the recurring things, though, in these rejection process is they can't validate my vendor's address, which seems crazy to me because, they're a pretty big manufacturer. They have 100+ people. They do 10 million a year in sales. What's the problem with getting their address validated? So I guess I'm at a little bit of a stalemate there. So I was thinking about going a different route. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If I was to say get ungated in that category for another product, something I could source maybe locally or within the United States, I am then good. I open that category for all products. So I was thinking about possibly just taking that route, and curious what your thoughts are with doing something like that. Let me know what you think, and thanks so much for everything you do.
Hey, Rick, thank you so much for the question, and thanks for being a listener. I appreciate it. And this is a great question, and I just want to say anyone out there that is trying to get ungated into a category, it can be frustrating. Trust me. It definitely can. Now, you kind of said, well, there's a couple things that you might have did that you could have did differently before you submitted it. And yes, that's true. But let's talk about your solution that you kind of came up with here in a minute. Before I do, though, if anyone else is thinking about getting ungated, we did an episode 212. So theamazingseller.com/212. The simple process for getting ungated is one that I did with Chris Schaefer. We break it all down. We give you like the steps on how to do it. And we also talk about being frustrated because sometimes you do everything by the book and then they still come back and they're vague. My one recommendation would be get on the phone with someone, like call during the business hours, speak to someone there. You can also request the catalog team and talk to someone there. That might also be a way to talk to someone that can help you further rather than just going through the email communication. But you really just want to be very persistent about this and just keep asking questions. And then eventually you'll probably get ungated. But like you said, there's probably going to be a workaround. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this workaround that you came up with, as long as you're not trying to launch a product that wouldn't get ungated for some reason. I've always said that, like, don't use like something to get around something so you can do something evil, right? We want to stay above board. We want to do things white hat. We want to do things for the long haul. But you have a great solution, I think. And that's something that I would definitely consider, because you're right. If you get ungated in a category, you're now ungated for all of those products. Like now you can sell in that category. They're just gating you to get in. Once you get in, you're in, right? And yes, if you have products that are going to violate terms of service and all that stuff, you're going to eventually get found out, and then you'll get your account banned or suppressed or whatever. So you got to be careful with that. But I think your solution is a great solution. I think that's something that I would definitely consider. And really what you're saying is maybe find something here in the States that's going to be easier for them to be able to validate the product. It would be a product that you would want to sell and that you're going to sell. I wouldn't say just do it for this purpose. I would say do it so you can actually sell it. Maybe that's your second product that you're going to be doing in this space. And then from there, you can then start to sell your other product that you've been trying to get ungated for. So I think that's a great solution. Again, use it in, the best way possible, as far as like, for good. Like, don't do this to try to sneak your way in. I just want to stress that. I'm not about that at all. I would never recommend that. But if you're doing this just because you've had, a tough time communicating what you're doing with your rep or whatever, this would definitely be a way that you could probably get around it. And I'm okay with that myself personally. If I was to do it, I would feel okay about that, as long as I knew that the products that I'm selling are legit and they're okay, and there's nothing I'm trying to sneak by anybody. So I think it's a great idea. So hopefully that helped you, and great solution, by the way, and way to come up with that on your own. And again, guys, if you want to know more about getting ungated, the episode 212 would be the resource that I would point you to. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session, and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business. So definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there, and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business, and this way here you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.